In a letter dated March 31st, 1776, Abigail Adams wrote to her husband John Adams, "I long to hear that you have declared an independency, and by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies, and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors." Abigail Adams is pretty much known for being among one of the first ladies of the United States. In fact, the second first lady of the United States after being the second lady uh, when John Adams was vice president um, for George Washington. But she was so much more than that. She advocated for women's rights and was the mother to our sixth president, John Quincy Adams. And she also advocated for equal public school for women, which was something that she was not allowed to have. She was heavily involved in politics because of her husband, and she also wrote him letters um, while he was away. And these letters are available to read in books and on the internet. And if you look at the Massachusetts Historical Society website, they have a collection of the letters there that you can find. And these letters showed how devoted Abigail was to her husband, and they also showed how keen and intelligent she was about what was going on and the events occurring around her. While John Adams was away, Abigail wrote to him frequently. In fact, it is believed that there are over 1,000 letters between John and Abigail that were written. And one of the most famous letters was the one that I just quoted, where she basically urges her husband in the Continental Congress to remember women um, and to give them rights in the Constitution and not just their husbands. And so she was big on women's rights, and she, as I mentioned earlier, also pushed for public education for women as well. When John Adams was elected president, and even before then, Abigail was his biggest confidant and advisor, his most trusted advisor. In fact, when John Adams became president, Abigail Adams earned the nickname Mrs. President, and many people were really unsure about how much she knew, and they weren't really happy that John Adams used her as an advisor. She did suffer from a stroke in October of 1818, and she ended up dying at home surrounded by her family on October 25th, 1818, and she left behind a legacy of an early pioneer for women's rights and not just being a first lady and taking an active role in helping her husband. I think she's a great demonstration of that saying that, you know, behind every great man there stands a great woman. I think that she truly was an asset to her husband.